We've already used transparency for some things. Each of the objects have their own transparency. You can see it by selecting the form and checking the second row, opacity. There's also a panel for this, transparency. From here, you can also edit the overall opacity for the objects. Additionally, the transparency panel also have blending modes, just like in Photoshop layers. You can, for example, put this as multiply to blend it in a darkening way to the objects beneath. I can use these tools, for example, to color grade objects. I can combine this with clipping mask and create colorful textures. A better way would be to edit the colors already in Photoshop. I can of course use transparent gradients with the photo textures. I create a brown circle on top of the rug, click 2 times to create 4 mesh points to the center, select these center points with the white arrow and put them to opacity 0. And then I'll create a clipping mask on top of these forms. This is how I got the edges of this form to become darker. Vector graphics by nature creates quite clean images. Many illustrators have created different kind of ways to make their illustrations more organic. A simple way to achieve this is photo textures. I edit a photo texture in Photoshop to be quite light. I'll then bring it to Illustrator and set a blending mode to it. If I would like to have the texture inside a form, I of course need a clipping mask. For this it's easiest if I copy the form. I copy it and then paste it on the same exact location but on top of all the other objects. Paste in place. The copy appears on top of the texture. Now I can make a clip group of the copy and the photo texture. This is how I got the texture just on top of the form. There's a copy of the circle as a clipping mask. These forms I would of course group. If I try to do this with a mesh form, I will fail. A mesh form will not become a clipping mask. It would be wise always to make a copy of a form before adding mesh points to it. Mesh in a way makes the form bad. We can go around this as follows. I select the mesh form and go to Object Path, Offset Path. This would offset a new form that would be larger or smaller than the original. I use this to create exactly the same sized copy. So I'll offset this 0 millimeters. I click OK and I have created a new copy that is exactly the same form that the offset form. The copied mesh form I can remove and then make the path that was offset a clipping mask. When I have used a clipping mask and created a clipping group, I can add new objects inside it. I, for example, copy the orange circle and go inside the blue clipping mask by double-clicking. Now I'm inside a group. I'll double-click again and now I'm inside the clip group. Now if I paste Ctrl V, the circle is copied inside the clip group. I double-click on empty space. This can be quite handy in some occasions. You can see the hierarchy if you open it from the layer panel.